presenting. Are you seeing this full screen? My favorite
Yes.
question. Perfect. Look, there's Julie. Okay, so before we do the warm-up, we'll let everyone get in. I'm just going to go over the schedule. We are doing our warm-up in Canvas, just 2 questions based on things we saw last time. We're going to finish our presentation on impacts and consequences of technology. We are going to review our beverage labels because everyone who has submitted one has done a great job. Please, everyone get one in. They're so cool and so interesting to see your interpretations. And then with luck, we'll work on the marketing project, but I'm guessing we might only get through the labels. We will certainly work on our marketing project in the next class. And then next week is that crazy half-day week. So we might just work on our projects to get those finished up so you'll have a happy Thanksgiving. Due today is your warm-up. Due on Friday is the quiz for market forces and profit. Marketing effects on technology project is going to be 11/23. That is right before Thanksgiving break. Okay, that's when you're supposed to turn that in. Our goal will be to evaluate and understand the consequences and impact of technology, how marketing technology is driven by current events. Okay, one thing I do want to show everyone, hang on, this is going to be exciting. I tried to replicate our week 9 quiz, but it didn't work. So sadly, that has disappeared. If you look in quizzes, and you look down here, week 9, market share and profits, I have recreated this. This is the quiz that got deleted by MCPS somehow at the quarter. Everyone is apologetic, but it's not getting our quiz back. The problem is there's like a whole algorithm in that 4th question. How do you know, how much do you know about this topic? So that was my problem. So this is what I've done. I'm afraid we can't get your quizzes back if you've already submitted them, but you know the words are right here in the title and you can go right to the PowerPoint and get their definitions if you need to. I have the right PowerPoint in there now. Apparently that was a problem. The way this is looking now, the only thing that has changed. So question 1, what is the first vocabulary term? Your term can be defined as, put in a picture. Question 4 is now, what is your level of understanding of this term? 1, poorly, okay, well, or extremely well. Pick one and it will score you 1 point for that because I did it multiple answers and I made them all the right answer. Okay, so that's all. Other than that, all our quizzes will remain the same as what they were. It's just something weird happened. There we go, something just banged my window. All right, just wanted to make sure everyone knows that. Oh, thank you for my background. I'm trying out some new things. I was having internet problems yesterday, and so I had to go to a different weird room. I've got some great ones. My cousin takes these pictures. He's a fabulous photographer. All right, let's get back to our favorite modules. There's my modules. Actually, I guess I could have just gone into that. All right. Does anyone have any questions, problems, thoughts before we get started? So we're going to go through our lecture. We're going to start with the negative impacts of technology. This is very long and involved, but I will try and make it as exciting and pertinent as I can. Cheyenne, welcome, Cheyenne. There is a warm-up. We're just about to go into the presentation. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to go through the end of our presentation on impacts and consequences of technology. Please do the vocab quiz. It's going to be due on Friday. review your beverage label, or actually it's going to be due next Wednesday, right before vacation. We're going to review your beverage labels and we're going to work on our marketing project. All right. Let's go through here to where we stopped. Consequences of technology. Technology has improved. Now, impacts and consequences. Negative impacts of technology on society. Okay. Resource depletion. The more demand for new technologies and advancement of current technologies, the more pressure we put on Earth's natural resources. Look at the total number of mobile phones and computers being manufactured today. Our population is increasing every day, and all these billion consumers demand either a mobile phone or a computer in their home or office. This is good news for the manufacturers like Apple or Samsung. The demand for their gadgets is high, but to sustain this demand, they have to exploit Mother Nature for resources like aluminum. Once these resources are extracted from the earth plates, they will never return back because it took them 1 billion years to mature. I hate to be correcting my lecture, but aluminum does not mature. Aluminum is an element, and there is as much aluminum in this world as when it was made, except for probably some chunks that we sent into space. That terminology is for fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are organic matter that under heat and pressure of millions of years converts into coal or oil, okay? And something you don't hear a lot about these days is population control. Doubling times are incredibly quick. The doubling time for a population, I'm guessing that our world population stands about 8 billion. I think it's less than 100 years, maybe 150, for that 8 billion to double. What will that do to our world, to our demand for resources? Twice the amount of people. Nobody likes to talk about it because the only answer to population is birth control. So it tends to be overlooked. It was big in the 70s. All right. Because it took 1 billion years for that aluminum to be there. That means that at one time, oh, Layla must have escaped. That means that at one time, we shall be left with no natural resource, which can be a problem to future generations and the economy. Likewise, the intensive farming practices will deplete the soil. This makes heavy application of commercial fertilizer necessary to yield healthy harvests. But also these fertilizers have chemicals which are dangerous to the soil and human lives. I'm not sure how they're dangerous to the soil, but typically the issue with fertilizers or pesticides, particularly strawberry pesticide, don't ask me why, I used to live in California, has the ability to mimic human hormones. So particularly prepubescent women have been affected by things like strawberry pesticide because their body interprets the chemicals in the pesticide as the hormones from their body. In terms of chemicals on farms, I think I already explained that it was back in the 1930s that the US Department of Agriculture made a choice whether to make sure that we had fertile soils or rich soil, or whether to just increase crop production through the application of fertilizer. We chose fertilizer. What is dangerous about fertilizer? I don't believe it is a problem to the crops themselves. It is the runoff. Fertilizer typically contains potassium, nitrogen, and calcium, I believe. Nitrogen is what makes plants grow. It also makes algae grow. So when you get a lot of runoff, from farms with a lot of nitrogen in it, you tend to get algae blooms in your creeks, rivers, and lakes. What algae blooms do is they take the oxygen out of the water. They absorb the oxygen, and when they die, they go to the bottom and carpet the bottom of the lake, causing real problems. So resource depletion is a real issue. Our current administration is totally gung-ho to utilize any and every resource in America. My feeling is you probably don't want to export all the oil that you have, all the coal that you have, because at some point, everyone else is going to run out too, and you might want to have some reserves. Okay, increased population. Here we go, population growth. Technology has helped us live longer by improving health facilities and aiding in the research for solutions for health problems which affect humans. This is good news for developed countries, but is bad news for developing countries. Why is the idea that medical technology is advancing in first world countries a bad thing for third world countries? Can anybody think of that? Think about the internet divide, the idea that some people can't afford computers or to pay Comcast to deliver their internet. And that leaves a whole section of America without access to the internet. What like that could be happening here? That first world countries are developing great technologies to help us live longer. What does that mean for third world countries? Here we go. Medicine is becoming expensive due to its production methods. That's one thing, that's right. But what it really means is that all these expensive technologies are great for a first world country that can afford them, but third world countries cannot necessarily afford the infrastructure, the actual machines to do the x-rays, to do the proton scan, and those things, so they will not benefit from that. They will need help from first world countries to provide them with facilities that they can use these technologies. So this is good news for developing countries, but bad news, or good news for developed countries, but bad news for developing countries, which have not been in a position to access these healthcare benefits brought by technology. There is a divide. They can't access the healthcare of first world countries because they don't have the money, the wherewithal to do it. In developed countries, population growth is controlled by advanced birth control methods. This has helped them balance their population in relation to natural resources and other opportunities which come with a planned population. China, for about 10, 15 years, I think, if not longer, had a one-child policy. That was as a result of the alarm in the 1970s that world population was out of control. If China's population of 1 billion doubled, it was going to be a significant issue for China. So they decided to create a one-child policy where they only let families have one child. This was very difficult, and it has been deleterious to China's economy in that they do not have as many replacement people to join the economy now. That helped them balance their population versus resources. This is different in developing countries. The rate at which people produce is high in developing countries because the mortality rate is high. People die often because they don't have good health care. They don't have sanitary conditions. They don't have people checking for coronavirus, those kinds of things. Food is scarce and health care is poor, okay? So the rate at which people reproduce, not produce, is very high. The mortality rate is high, and that's why. So let's say this was India. I don't want to pick on anyone, but the idea, let's say 50 years ago in India, you needed to have 6 sons in order to have 2 sons that could help you work your farm as you get older. Okay? That is because 4 of your sons would probably die before they reached the age of maturity, before they reached 18. There were so many childhood diseases, those kinds of things. You had to have 6 children just to end up with 2. So what happens when a society like that gets better health care, gets health care that allows them to live longer, allows you to give childbirth more safely? What happens to their population? Can anybody guess?
It grows.
It grows.
It grows, yeah.
It's going to grow, and it's because they are not used to having those medicines. They're not used to having their children survive. So there becomes a whole transition period where that country is overproducing for their needs, for the idea that I need 2 strong sons to help me run my farm. Now they're going to have 4 sons. So these are all interesting traditions and how we have to work as a society to maintain this planet that we all live on. So that's the basic summary of when the problem for third world countries with reproduction is that traditionally you had to have a lot of reproduction in order to have a few children. Once you improve the medicine, once you improve the healthcare, all of a sudden that strategy is overproducing, and then there's going to be a period of time when things need to readjust. Increased pollution. Pollution affects the land. We grow crops on, the water we drink, and the air we breathe. The increased demand for new technologies and advancement of technologies has resulted in many manufacturing and processing factories. As they work so hard to create the best technologies for both society and business, they release harmful chemicals and gases, which have polluted our environment, and this has resulted in climate change, global warming. Okay, that is not a particularly accurate statement. Let me try and precise that a little. So what they are talking about, release harmful chemical and gases, which have polluted our environment and has resulted in climate change. The gases they're talking about is CO2. Ever since the Industrial Revolution, the amount of CO2 that we have produced and released into the atmosphere has gone steadily upwards. It has never gone down. It is CO2 that is causing global warming. When they say released harmful chemicals and stuff, those chemicals are pollutants, but they are not necessarily causing global warming. Let's say it's arsenic, that they are releasing arsenic or cyanide into the environment as a result of their process. Let's say these guys are gold refiners. You use cyanide to precipitate gold out. So if they were using that, that would be a harmful chemical that's a byproduct of the gold refinement process from ore. But that is not causing climate change. That is purely causing pollution. So the more technology we enjoy, the more we harm our environment. Experts have tried to implement ways of reducing this impact by encouraging factories to grow green. To a small extent, this has been achieved through the development of green technologies, like green cars, green computers, but a great effort is still needed to reduce the pollution of the air and the earth. Okay, I just wanted to talk a moment about LEED certification. Has anyone heard of LEED certification? LEED. Sometimes you go into buildings, modern buildings, and you will see a plaque in their lobby that says LEED bronze certified, LEED gold certified, or platinum certified. Do you know what that means in a building? Anybody? Do you have any idea of what LEED certification is about?
The reliability, maybe how much they're trusted.
No. That's all right. That's a great guess. It is environmental. That what it is, LEED certification is a certification for a quote unquote green building. So it has to do with how efficient your heating and cooling systems are, how much insulation your building has, how much recycling your building does. A bunch of things go into the LEED certification. But when they say experts have tried to implement ways of reducing the impact by encouraging factories to go green, that's what they mean by a green factory. That would be something that was built to be environmentally friendly, that it would use passive solar for heating, that it would use solar and wind energy to power itself. Green computers is a weird one. Has anyone heard of a green computer? I know you're all clamoring to sing out about it. I'd never heard of a green computer either. What would make a computer green if we were just talking about things like using energy efficiency, insulation, recycled products, having the building recycle materials? What would make a green computer? Anyone? Nelson, do you have any ideas? Nelson Ramos? Trying to get you in the conversation. Nelson, any ideas? What would make a green computer? Ah, I've got a yes. Ah, I got you. No mic. You should call in. Call in with your phone. We want to hear your voice. What would make a green computer? If we think about, ideally, like what would the casing be made out of?
Something recyclable.
Something recycled. Ideally, the computer would be very efficient, that it would not waste energy, that it may be designed so that it can be recycled, that its parts are components that can be recycled, something like that. All right? Technology is transferred through individuals. It is not enough to transfer instructions, procedures, technical specs, software, computer programs, drawing, technical reports, or other types of documents. Technology has to be practiced by those in a particular society who are to use it. All right, well, again, I find this very complex for my fabulous students. What this is saying is that just having the materials for technology is not enough. Having the technology, the instructions, the procedures, the specs, all that stuff is not going to change your society. The reason that societies change is because they embrace the technology, that they use it and it becomes a part of their everyday life. Okay? So this is sort of like saying that it's the innovators that are important more than the inventors, because the innovators are the ones who take the product and make it usable, make it so that America wants it, so that people adopt this product and use it in their everyday life. Okay? My great example is the idea of the cash register. Nobody had a cash register when the cash register was invented. Why did they think they needed it? They've done it with a cigar box with money in it and a little slip they write down the numbers on. That had worked for 100 years. The people who made the cash register, National Cash Register, had to market it. They had to explain to people why they needed it. They had to show people why they needed it. And people adopted it. There's no store today that doesn't have a cash register. That's pretty amazing. And that's in about 100 years. I think the cash register came to be in about the 20s. All right. The technological shrinking of the world's boundaries and distances, bringing diverse societies into a partnership in a shared global economy, known commonly as globalization, has had a profound impact on the ways we design, market, and use technology. Okay, let's talk about this for a moment. So if the US was an island, we would only be producing technology for ourselves. And we do that pretty well, right? Okay? If we're only producing for ourselves, we understand our market, we speak the same language, we understand what people want and don't want. What's the difference when we open up our markets to a global society? What's the difference between only selling to ourselves and then selling to the world? Anybody have an idea? Come on, what's going to have to change in our thinking? Let's think about this design thinking. What's the problem going to be when we start selling to the world? If we're running our company and we're all of a sudden we want to go international, what's our problem going to be? Come on. Guys, we've been going over this for months now. What's a problem that you would have going from a domestic market to an international market? What's the first easiest thought?
The supply may be, or the demand may be different than expected, and that may drive down the price and everything, which you don't want when you're trying to.
Right. That for one, I don't understand these other countries. I understand my country, but I don't know them. I don't know what it is they want. So I have to learn that.
Maybe international shipping transactions are trickier.
International shipping transactions are going to be trickier. You've got customs, you've got taxes, you've got things like in England, they have the VAT tax. That's a tax that you pay if I buy something in England and bring it to America. I have to pay a tax. The thing I was thinking about is that number one, what about language? They don't speak the same language we do. I can't just show my ads in English to them. I'm going to need to translate things. I'm going to need to try and put myself in their shoes and understand who these people are and what they want. I need to find that need in their society that I can fulfill, okay? So that's just some of the thoughts that you have about how going from a closed market that you only do work with yourself to having an open market when you work with the globe. There's a lot of thinking that needs to go into how you're going to present your products to other cultures and other people. Just thinking the way we do isn't going to do it. You need diversity. What's my favorite example? This is probably before your time. When Chevy came out with the Chevy Nova, this was the first car they tried to sell in Mexico. Chevy was branching out to selling in Mexico. What's the problem selling a car that's called a Nova, N-O-V-A, in Mexico? I'm counting on my Spanish language speakers to help me here. If you're a Mexican citizen and you're looking at a new car and its name is Nova in Spanish, would you buy it? Anybody here take Spanish? Can we get an interpretation of what Nova means? Come on, team, work with me. We're trying to have
Doesn't
some
it
fun.
mean not going?
It means don't go.
Yeah.
So you want to buy a car that's name is don't go? Nova, don't go. That is not a good name for a car if you're trying to sell it. So that is the type of hurdle Americans had no concept. Where they were like, our cars sell great. Let's sell them in Mexico. They did nothing to try and groom their product for the Mexican market. They obviously did not have a focus group look at the car and tell them their reactions from a Spanish-speaking audience. So that's just an example. So here's an interesting slide. I don't know why they call this the cost of peace, but I'm guessing, okay, this is North and South Korea. What is the stunning difference between the amount of technology in South Korea and North Korea that you can see at night?
South Korea has a lot more light.
Has all those lights. So there is just, North Korea does not have a lot of technology, and that's as a result of the war. So this line here, that is the 38th parallel. That is where they drew the line between North and South Korea. North of the line was going to be North Korea, and south of the line was South Korea. With the repressive society of North Korea, they do not have good development of technology. Where in the South, you know, where does Samsung come from? South Korea. Consequences of technology can impact much more than what you're seeing. There are what are called knock-on events, that you do something. So I fertilize my fields, it rains, that fertilizer goes into the water, it grows algae, that algae dies, it goes to the bottom of the lake and depletes it of oxygen, and all the fish die. Because I used fertilizer, the fish are dead, but there is no direct link between there. It's a series of events that happened as a result of that fertilizer. Yes, they can land on you. Consequence, here's our second word, may be defined as a result or effect of an action or condition. Many have been laid off from work as a consequence of COVID or the administration's policies. Consequence, a result or effect of an action or condition. That's nice. All right, there are 6 direct consequences resulting from any technology, activity, or decision. So you have a desired goal, you have inputs, you have process, you have output, you have a result. Ooh, apparently there's a whole piece of that result that has intended consequences and unintended consequences, desirable and undesirable results, immediate or delayed impacts. Can you think of an example for each of the results using one device? Car, a cell phone, a calculator. Let me see, I think this, no. So let's start with a car. What is an unintended consequence of a car? Or what is the intended consequence of a car?
To make it so people can get places faster.
Exactly. And what's an unintended consequence of cars? Anybody? Come on.
The gas that comes out of it.
Greenhouse gases, the exhaust, pollution. Pollution is certainly an unintended consequence of cars. Now, a weird one to me is, can you think of any unintended consequences of a calculator? Or undesirable consequences of a calculator?
People like
No, I can't think of any.
I find that this is not a good example. Vaguely, by having accurate calculations, something gets thrown off. I don't know. Calculators seem relatively benign to me. All right. Is there a circle of consequences for each impact? So personal, social, cultural, political, economic, and environmental are the impacts of the consequences of technology. So there's a personal impact, a personal performance, a team result, an organizational impact, customer experience, and shareholder returns. That is a circle of consequences. And I would say, yes, you could create a circle like this for all of these. Technology is neutral. Can you see where every activity and decision has an impact or a consequence? This sort of goes back to, my thoughts on Twitter, the idea that Twitter is just a technology. It's not good or bad, but depending on who uses it, that once we have had an American president get hold of Twitter, they can, they can make it have much more impact, have negative or positive impact, but it is not Twitter itself that is doing it. It's the messaging. It's what the app provides, the ability to speak directly to your audience. Okay? If technology is neutral, can you finish this statement? Guns don't kill people. What does? Who is the problem with technology if technology is neutral? And guns don't kill people. Who does? What is it that is weaponizing Twitter?
People.
People. If technology is neutral, people are the ones that are causing consequences. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Or some people feel that bullets kill people. Unintended versus intended. An intended benefit is the positive purpose for which a technology is designed to be used. Unintended consequences can have a negative impact on society. Identify 2 positive and 2 negative effects that airplanes have on society. Who wants to jump in on this one? You can put it in the chat. What are 2 positives of air travel?
You can get overseas faster.
You can get anywhere faster on an airplane. You can fly across the ocean much quicker than it takes a boat. Like here's another one. How safe is air travel? That's an intended benefit. Air travel is incredibly safe. If you look at the number of people that die per 1,000 that actually fly. Cars, kill people left and right. So what's an unintended consequence of an airplane? Here, I'm going to start.
Doesn't it help with climate change and everything? Like,
sure, airplanes pollute. Airplanes release carbon dioxide. Airplanes burn fuel. Burning fuel creates pollution. So what's another impact that airplanes have? If you live near National Airport, you would be reporting this.
they're very loud.
They're very loud when they fly over your house. Noise pollution. Okay? So these are the kinds of things. Desirable or undesirable. This is an outcome, positive, negative, or mixed. Is the outcome positive, negative, or mixed? Or good in some ways and bad in other ways. For example, I'm not going to do this. Structured EHR data, which we have no idea what it is, allows organization of data into discrete categories so the data can be efficiently processed. However, this can result in loss of elements of clinical narrative that serve as a record of potentially important points in a patient's history. Anticipated or unanticipated. Can the consequences be predicted or anticipated? If so, by whom? This is a scale ranging from events that are easily anticipated through those that are anticipated by an average practitioner with effort to those that are only anticipated by experts and culminating in the events that are completely unanticipatable. That's earthquakes. Earthquakes cannot be predicted at this point by anyone or a total surprise. This anticipatability scale applies not only to the presence or absence of an event, but also to the magnitude of an event. An example of an anticipated unintended consequence is the weight gain or loss associated with many medications. Even so, a given individual may have a weight change so large, I don't know, it just disappears. Okay. All right. So these are, I'm going to skip these and get into our fabulous things. You can take a look. This is anticipated versus unanticipated. You know, we've got cell phones. You know, what were the goals? What were the serendipities? What are the trade-offs? What are the negative consequences? You know, again, our favorite dominoes. Yes, there's a good one for unintended consequences. You grab that little rock and it's just going to cause the whole thing to come falling down. All right, I'm going to try and use these in some later fun thing. Oh, here's a good one. So, intended benefits: cell phone, convenient communication; wireless internet, computers become portable; texting, silent communication. Unintended consequences: cell phones interrupt conversations. On the wireless internet, there's identity theft. People get carpal tunnel from texting. This is an interesting one, but I want to move on to our thing because we only have about 20 minutes left. All right, I'm going to get out of here and let me present my desktop so that I can go through some of our amazing labels. Okay, hang on. Why is that doing that? Why is it not? Oh, there we go. Let's stop. Okay, we're gonna get to see where the labels live. Beverage labels. Okay. Here's one from Caleb. So this is fresh energy in a bottle. Warrior energy, energy replenisher. So this is one little thing that people didn't, in theory, it's not just Hawaii 10 cents, Michigan 10 cents. You should have refund or deposit on there. Look, we've got a website. We've got our, we've got a Best Buy date. There's a little issue with our formatting here. I'm not sure what happened, but then we have a great description. We have our thing. Very cool. Okay, here's a simpler one, but we've got our nutritional facts. We've got the name of our product, Raindrops. We've got our English and metric product size. Visit our website and the ingredients. Now, this oval with the R really should be a circle, and it should be up here by your brand name. Typically, it's your brand name that would be your registered trademark. Okay, I think we've seen this one before. This is from Brooke. Very cool. I love the logo. Got the best. We got a recycle. This one, my only problem here is it's a little cluttered because it's so much stuff. I might have made this block a little more vertical, but we've got our company info. We've got copyrighted, product of the Swarma company. It's gluten-free. You always want to be adding little things to increase your sales. We've got 2 liters and the conversion to ounces. Great job. All right, look at this one. Granny's Lemonade. I like that they put the expiration on the cap. So this one, can anybody help me with what's missing off this? Oh, no, I wasn't seeing my barcode. So here we are. So these are all the deposits. This is our nutrition facts. It doesn't look like the FDA version, but we're going to say it's an English lemonade. We've got ingredients. Fresh taste guaranteed. That's great. Company info. Please keep me cold. This is a fresh product. This is such a cool job. Great work. All right, here's a Jumex. So we've got an international label here. Contains 29% juice. It's apple nectar. We've got our recycling. We've got our ounces and the idea that it's a strange ounce versus a normal milliliters is because it's a more international product. We've got our nutrition information, ingredients, produced by company info. Very cool. I don't know why, I just like this one. This is the McGaskey Company, Light Years. 100% real juice and your ticket to another worldly taste. I think we're missing our nutritional info here. We've got a little about the company. We've got the McGaskey Company. We don't really have a way to connect with them. So this needs a little more on it, but it's a very pretty label. There's a Martinelli sparkling cider. This again is sort of a little simplistic if we're trying to sell our product. You really want it to reach out and grab you. Let me see if I can get to, like here. Sadly, this is an alcoholic beverage, which we were not supposed to be doing, but this is a beautiful label. Love the font. We've got when it was bottled and its best before. We've got our barcode, the size, the amount of alcohol. Oh, okay, and he even put in the measure that the height of his can is 7 and his circumference is 4. Locally brewed in Maryland. All right. Even though it was an alcoholic beverage, we still liked it. This was Schnell's. Schnell gave me a whole interesting one. So this is the label for this bottle. And she's got a nice logo. The only thing in my mind is I think I might have boosted the size of this image up into here so that it would be a little more commanding in the space. I feel like my content description is overpowering my logo. We use a W&P porter glass bottle with a protective silicone sleeve, 20 ounces of our flavored water. Great descriptions. We got the dimensions of that. We've got our FDA thing. We missed the words deposit here, but again, this is a great job. And she also gave me all the bits and pieces that she needed to work with and what they were. Very nice. Oop, hang on. Oh, selects. That's where I'm supposed to be. No wonder we're. All right. Hang on. Why can't I get there? This was what it was. This was one of my favorite logos, Agua Amor. I don't know why, I just feel like I buy the product. It's missing a few things, but very clean presentation. We need a barcode, we need an expiry date. I don't even know if water has an expiration date. Now there, it's a beautiful label. This is what I mean by you want to make your label so that it jumps off the shelf. If you're looking at 7-Eleven in all those giant beverage racks, your product wants to stand out. Your product needs to say, try me, okay? So I feel this is a very nice attempt. Best by date's probably a little large. See, here we have the Maine or Hawaii 5-cent deposit or 10-cent deposit, California cash refund. Lemonade made with real lemons. Silly thing is we don't have how big our bottle is. Now this R should be up here because right here it says Marinade is a registered trademark of Markhold. I love the names of the company. This is Funyas Refresh. So this is a beautiful job. Here's another one, okay? So Orange Mist. The only thing I'd say, I think the title is bold, it speaks to you. The sort of lavender texts were brought to you by Clean Live Lives Farms and World's Best seems a little difficult to read. You know, that I might put a little more black into that to just try and give it a little more weight. We've got a description of our product. We've got company info. We've got our recycled mark. We've got our ounces, barcode, FDA. Great job. What I want to get to, oh, this is one of my favorites. This is the only product that came with a slogan, okay? This is for Bobo Joe's Get Fired Up After Election Energy Bomb Drink. Bobo Joe's, after a crazy election, this drink became the #1 energy drink for only $1.25, and a pack of 12 being $10. BBJ, like most energy drinks, contains water and natural flavor. What makes Bobo Joe's unique is the combination of lemon, orange, and a lot of different types of sugar. This company was open to support the people who went through a lot of stress during the election and are stressing about a lot of new changes that USA will be going through. So drink Bobo, get fired up after elections, and drink Bobo Joe's. The label is missing a few things. We don't have our ounces. We don't have our barcode. We don't have an expiration, but that's a pretty great product. I really enjoyed that one. I love your creativity. Okay, here's one. This is using the sheet. So they had a couple tests for me to look at. And then this is Bryn's Brew, Nitro Cold Brew Coffee. And she even put in a nice little section explaining that her can is 4 inches wide. She has a label that's 4 inches wide, 3.5 inches tall, 12-ounce aluminum can. The label would adhere using a shrink sleeve that fits from top to bottom. Chose the beverage because my middle name is Bryn and I like coffee. I'll go with that. Now here, nobody did the Frankenstein technique, which I thought might happen, where they had to cut out pieces. But some people are not the best at manipulating graphics. So we had a couple great hand-drawn labels. So this is really cool. So it's a Canada Dry, ginger ale and lemonade. We've got company info. Everything is looking very cool. Now this one, I like this, but what could we do that would make this more saleable? What's the problem with this one? If you're walking by, the drink rack. Anybody have any ideas?
Maybe that doesn't appeal to
I
me.
just think, that
I mean,
just cola doesn't
Yeah.
seem to be enough for me to want it.
Mhm.
If it's, new, better tasting cola from exclusive sources. I like the rainbow label, but I just think if there was a little more to it, I would be more interested in trying it. Just cola makes me feel nervous almost. Okay. All right, here's another fabulous one. The only thing I could really see here is the idea, for one, that is not a real barcode, and it doesn't have any numbers on it. But the idea that this label, the Aubrey's Yerba, should be about a third smaller so that it would let your naturally flavored and raspberry rush bracket it a little better and have a little more weight. Oh, here's one. I was going to show. This is where someone did this, and the problem seems to be that something got screwy with the actual file. That this has got to get pulled down. So this can happen to you. But they were really trying hard and trying to put it into the template. So I really appreciate that. This is the only one that utilized the game thing. So this was the idea that there was some sort of game or promotion on it. So Sparkling Sunrise, it's got its barcode. We've got company information, our FDA, deposit, ingredients, Best Buy, how big it is. Very nice. This is another good one. Oh, here's one. So this was working. The only thing that happened was somehow this got turned sideways. Okay. I just wanted to get to our last, there's a great one. Here we go. I just wanted to show that the other, oh, I know what I can probably do. Hello. I just wanted to show the care that went into this. So we've got our statement, we've got the orange juice company, they even have the overlap for the label. They drew this all by hand. And my favorite, I just like the name of the brand. Oh My Orange Soda. I think I'd buy an Oh My. Here's their recycled, here's their thing, there's the name. So there's many ways that we can do these projects. All right, let's stop. Anybody have questions, problems? We've got 2 minutes left. We can talk about our project. Does anyone have a good idea for what they're going to be doing as the best invention or worst invention of 2020 or thereabouts?
I'm not sure quite yet, but I am confused about one thing. Are we supposed to make like a slideshow, or are we just supposed to fill out the graphic organizers?
You can either fill out the graphic organizer, do it all on that page, or you can present it in slides. The only thing, if you do it in slides, you just have to make sure to get all the different questions that are being asked off the sheet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else have questions, problems? I mean, historically, let's just blue sky about some of these things. When I was growing up, the word fad was epitomized by Christmas and the Cabbage Patch Doll. In my opinion, the Cabbage Patch Doll was one of the ugliest, most homely things I had ever seen. I think I was probably maybe 12 or 16 or something. They sold like nobody's business. Everybody wanted a Cabbage Patch Doll for Christmas. It was the hot item of that year. They couldn't keep them on the shelves. A classic terrible car is the Ford Edsel. The Ford Edsel really tanked. It just didn't sell. And sadly, Edsel was the name of Ford's son. He named the worst car they ever made after his son. Come on, let's just dream up, put them in the chat. What are great products? What in your mind is the product of 2020? It's fake news. No, it's let's see. Well, the Tesla, I think, electric cars are certainly the 20th century. I think we went over this. Self-driving cars are a very new thing. They're not being marketed yet, so that doesn't really work. I just want to make sure that everybody has some good ideas that they're working on. Okay? Let me know. Come in on Wednesday if you need to blue sky some ideas. All right, we are done.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Quick thing.
Goodbye. We'll come up with a different background for next time.
So I took the impact or market forces profit quiz or whatever, and like you said, now it's all 4 options or whatever, 1, 2, 3, and 4 for your understanding are correct, but it actually took away points because I only clicked.
Oh, it wants all 4?
Yeah, it says.
Hey, again, don't worry about it. I will figure it out.
Thank you.
No worries.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye. Snell, Tamini, can I help you? Tamini, Snell? All right, I'm running away.